The guy who pissed on the records, everyone tried, but only, I think, Roger is right here, and he actually was able to pee on the records. I would take pictures and they would appear in a magazine and people wouldn't see them on the East Coast until 4 months after it happened.
Right.
And that's why traditionally the entire East Coast, West Coast thing with skateboarding and with various other cultures is lagged so far behind for so long.
Now it's all one thing.
And now it's like it's almost nothing. The stuff that was happening and its impact on the culture, whether it was the skateboarding culture or the punk rock culture. I mean, you think that people were doing one trick 1 month or 1 week, and then the thing happened the next week. People over around the rest of the world wouldn't have it for years, but it would inspire them for ever. I mean, well, this is the oldest photo in the show. It's one of my most classic images of Jay Adams from 1976. It's from my very first roll of black and white film. And I found this pool and I said, look, let's do this. I found this pool. I'm the one who found this pool. Sure. No one else knew about it yet, which is kind of a big deal back then because it was like, your own secret spot. And so anyways, I took Jay to the pool and I took PC to the pool and I took these pictures. I took, one roll of color and one roll of black and white. And actually it was a roll of color that there's an example of in the very front that produced the first published photo I ever took. The photo that the editor picked, Jay is actually falling. But like many things that Jay Adams did, it was so revolutionary to see somebody actually coming out of a pool that it just inspired people. Right? I mean, he was flying out of the pool, but anyone who skated knows that the way he was looking back, there was a lot of style in it and a lot of aggression in it, but there's no possible way he could be making. His board was upside down and he was kicking the board out. But the editor, who's no longer with us, had the vision to see that will inspire kids. And they used it as a full-page subscription ad for Skateboarder. It's like it was a total, and I had a photo credit on it and a $40 check. I was 14 years old. I freaked the out. And life changed after that for me. I never gone another month without having a published photo of Skateboarder as long as it was alive.
So it started with skating. What next? I mean, I see so many iconic images in here.
Skateboarders, very aggressive, intense people, radical in more ways than one, and very progressive in a lot of ways, and just wanting to hear the loudest, fastest, most aggressive music possible. When punk rock came along, it was just a natural fit.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, a lot of guys who were into skateboarding were going to punk rock shows, and we would go to punk shows together, and a lot of us were younger than the crowds that were going at that time. I would hang out at the shows more often than I would shoot the shows. I didn't want to be the nerd with the camera. And I was so inspired, I just had to take my camera to get pictures, to spread this more.
Why?
Because I felt it had to be heard, it had to be noticed, and I wanted to do it its justice. I'd seen so many pictures taken, or pictures not taken at all, and I'm like, this is important. This is my life's goal, this is my personal responsibility. I am going to make people know about this if it's the last thing I do, because it is making me feel so good about myself and my life, and it inspiring me so much that I just had to do it. What else is there to do for a teenager? I had the access to this magazine that literally had 1 million readers.
Which was?
In Skateboarder magazine in 1978, the biggest selling magazine for the entire Southland Corporation, which is 7-Eleven, other than porno magazines. It was a huge magazine.
Slurpees, porno, and skateboards.
This is absolutely Skateboarder. Being the youngest person who worked for them, they would listen to me sometimes, and a lot of times they wouldn't. But occasionally, and I got them to start printing, photos of the bands that I was listening to, because they wanted to be on top of it. It was because I was making them do it, because I told them you can't write about the Eagles in a skateboarder magazine just because they're paying advertising bills to promote a record that no skateboarder listens to. This is how hardcore, particularly punk rock, from Los Angeles, just all of a sudden started disseminating throughout the country.
Right.
Hip kids, really cool kids would know ahead of that. Yeah. But that really, Chuck Dukowski even credits that, and a lot of people do, as that really being a defining moment when the skateboarding magazines started covering punk rock.
Sure.
Well, this is a really epic picture. I think Ian Mackay at the 930 Club, and it's nice because it's on the East Coast.
I went to
And
that club to see them play.
This was like 81, 82, where I think a lot of the hardcore punk stuff was peaking. And maybe 83. This is one of the most incredible shows I had ever seen. I don't even remember taking this photo, and I remember when I took most of them, but I just thought this photo was so amazing because you see this guy diving over Ian, all you see is his boots up in the air, back upside down, and the intensity in Ian's eyes just charging right at me like he would with that 30-pound mic stand. Which is duct taped on. Yeah, it's just incredible. All punk rock bands were like, we do it so you could do it. That was the whole deal. Everyone could do it. But when people saw Mackay on stage, it was like, that guy looks just like me. Yeah. He's, he's a skater like me, and he's just Joe everybody. That's what people really thought when they saw Ian, like more than any other singer. When he got on stage, he sang with everybody in the crowd the whole time. Yeah, you had the mic too. There's videotapes of shows where the sound was shut off, and you could hear the vocals because everyone is singing along because they know every lyric because they could relate so well. Right. And it was that moment, I think, in punk rock's history where like Minor Threat became a really big focus, and straight edge became this really interesting thing that, in a way, it almost was like legitimized in a way to the point where like everyone now wanted to be them and sound like them.
We were talking about this photo earlier, Glenn, the photo that was used for the cover of the Circle Jerks record. Oh, yeah. How did that shot happen?
That is real piss on the record, and those are real gold records. The guy who pissed on the records, everyone tried, but only, I think Roger is right here, and he actually was able to pee on the records, and they had a piece of cardboard in front of me so I wouldn't get splattered on. At that particular moment in time, the Circle Jerks were managed by the same guy who managed the group War, Low Rider and all those great songs, and Why Can't We Be Friends, and also Tanya Tucker and a bunch of other acts. Somehow the Circle Jerks got involved with this guys, after all those bands probably weren't worth anything anymore. And we had this idea, they had the song Golden Shower of Hits. The whole album was very overproduced because they were involved with those people. Yeah. But they all liked it, and we decided, the band and myself, that one weekend when no one was around, because they rehearsed there, we would just go in their offices and take some of their gold records and bust them out of the frames, put them in the toilet, and that's what we did. And we found out that gold records aren't really gold records, that you could even see in the reflection, the black back of that one record, because it's not painted on the back, they only painted on one side. We also found out that they aren't the actual records, they just count the number of tracks and just match it up. Those are like Elvis records or something, and with Tanya Tucker stickers on them, labels, because the labels were...
You guys pissed on Tanya Tucker?
Well, it wasn't anything personal, it just happened to be the gold records that we thought they...
She had the unfortunate luck of having her gold record on that wall.
And we took those photos, and the one that's on the cover, you could actually see the stream. It's pretty crazy. And, but at least we've had that one, and it's besides its literal meaning, I mean, it's just pretty good, as far as punks in the record business and who get up to it.